So does Fractus actually make these antennas itself?
Well, indeed, Fractus has been manufacturing millions and millions of antenna devices for most of the manufacturers of wireless devices worldwide. But at some point, the company decided that it was best to focus in what we excel in, which is innovation, research, creating new technologies, and licensing this technology to the entire industry. So we enable others to manufacture as well. So this technology goes faster into the market and in a very effective way.
So how do you explain patent licensing to somebody who has no idea that it exists?
So patent licensing is really about sharing the innovation that a company has created, that has invested many years and money in creating an innovation, and sharing this innovation to the entire industry. Through licensing, you give access to this technology in exchange of a fair compensation for whoever have created this wonderful technology.
The proprietary technology, but you're not keeping it all to yourself.
Exactly. Licensing means that you open this innovation to everyone. So companies can all benefit from this technology. Consumers can all benefit from this technology. Companies can make devices that are compatible one to each other. And at the end, this accelerates the market and the adoption of the technology. So at the end, this benefits everyone.
So how did you go from being an engineer to being a professor of patent management?
Well, when we created a technology startup 25 years ago in Barcelona, we got to learn that patents were essential for technology corporations. I was the lead scientist, founder, CTO of the company, and all of a sudden I had to deal with patents, and I had no clue how to do that. But we had to learn the hard way, and we went through the experience of having to enforce our patents, not in Europe because we didn't have the opportunity, but in the US. And we learned how painful and difficult it is for an SME to really enforce and defend their rights. And then I became a professor. I was a professor originally, but I came back to the university to teach researchers and innovation companies on how to effectively manage patents to protect this technology, the technology that they create. Patents is really what helps technology startups, technology companies around the world, and in Europe in particular, to heavily invest in creating something that doesn't exist, something that nobody has done before. And that's a risky business that you can only do if you have patents to protect this risky investment. This is why patents are so important and are in the backbone of the technological industries and in licensing. So the IPRED study by the European Commission addresses a very important point, which is enforcing patents in Europe. But the focus should be in a different place. The focus should be in how difficult it is to enforce patents in Europe today. How many European companies, small, medium innovation companies, cannot enforce their rights because it's too difficult? This is the real issue. And without enforcing the rights, patents have no value. Without patent value, there is no investment in innovation, and then we have no jobs for innovation. There are millions of jobs in Europe in technology innovation companies. About 70% of these jobs come from SMEs. And without an effective enforcement system, these companies cannot get a return of their investments. And all these jobs go away.